Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone, in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, you wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8. This is more umineko, when the seagulls cry. And then you changed into gold butterflies and entered the forest, waited for your magical power to be restored. Is that what you're saying? That is correct. I take this form to sneer at you, but most of the time it is easier, magically, for me to keep my form as gold butterflies. Hey, feel free to take a load off and stick to whatever is easiest. I wouldn't mind not having to hear your irritating laugh. Cackle, cackle. When I turned into butterflies and slipped into the forest, it was already no longer possible for Kinzo to find me. However, Kinzo was not dismayed. Still, he was not immediately able to prepare a way to catch me. Why am I imagining Kinzo like fucking SpongeBob SquarePants with a fucking butterfly catching net? Like she's the fucking Jellyfish Fields. So he first moved to prevent me from leaving this island, and to keep me from gaining my power. My. At any rate, Kinzo's spitefulness was unimaginable. It was pretty tough to be loved by someone like that. He found a way to keep you from leaving after you turned into butterflies? I mean, to be fair, I don't know if butterflies could actually fly the distance from an island to the mainland. So, what, did he put a bug net around the entire forest? Indeed. A magical one. Didn't you know? On the sea in front of the harbor is a reef, upon which sits a small shrine of Eastern magic. Ah, that. It was gone by this year, though. It was a small shrine built long ago by a Pokemon, right? From the very beginning, Rokkenjima has been an island enveloped by a distortion. It attracts things of magical power and other related creatures. Milady herself is one of them. How about some more tea? Cackle, please. They brought harm to humans and probably left several eerie legends in their wake. That small shrine was built in ancient times by an Eastern magician who heard of them. A long time passed and that power was lost. By repairing it, Kinzo restored this island's barrier and once again bound me to this island. Can Eastern magic work on a Western witch like you? Normally, the affinity would be poor. However, for the purpose of sealing me here, it may have been quite convenient in a way. If it was Western magic, I would have had some knowledge. Okay, so, Beatrice? Does that mean you're, like, from America? For any barrier, there would have been some measures I could have taken, but Eastern magic is outside my area of expertise. So it's like you're used to, like you're an engineer who built your robots with the imperial system of, the imperial system of inches and feet and yards and miles and pounds and gallons. And Kinzo's like, haha, I wrote all my shit in metric. Have fun converting everything to centimeters, bitch. And it's like, what the fuck's a kilogram, Kinzo? A fucking kilometer? 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 The fuck's a liter? It was as if I had been given chopsticks instead of a spoon for some soup that I wanted to drink. In a space dominated by Eastern magic, Western magic loses much of its power. Even if she were given 1,000 days to regain her strength, she would have to wait many, many more. So you're saying it took you 20 years to regain your power, and now you've revived, as we can all see. Those were horribly long years. Would have been better if you had like a PlayStation. Imagine, like, so what'd you do during that time? I played Resident Evil and Silent Hill. Imagine, like, Beatrice, like, what'd you do, Beatrice? It's like, I was Vengeful, then I just became a Let's Player. The end. Video games. It's like, what's this? It's Beatrice yelling in fear. Like, imagine if Beatrice was, like, playing a horror VR game. Or, like, getting over it. Like, imagine her playing, like, a rage game. It's like, today we play Mario Romax. I spent many days in the form of gold butterflies, found Kinzo's mansion, and watched over him every day. I lived through those days with no means to enjoy myself, except to ponder how I would get back at him. That period of 20 years was fortunate for me. Kinzo tried to use all sorts of magic to try to find and capture me, but each failed. There's a limit to how many miracles a single human can bring about. Even simply holding me captive for that long had been a miracle far above his place. It would be unthinkable for me to be captured like that multiple times. Grandfather said something in the previous game. It was something like magic lies in a miracle of probability. Indeed, as Kinzo was searching for a hidden art to capture me again, he stumbled upon that. Then he finally worked out the ceremony involving the offering of 13 people as sacrifices to revive me again. 13 people as sacrifices. That is the witch's epitaph, a song of sacrifices. Why am I imagining Jigglypuff? Jigglypuff, jiggly. And now I'm thinking of boobs. Good jiggle physics. I'm thinking of boobs now. 6 people on the first twilight, 2 people on the second, and then 5 more people on the 4th through 8th twilights. A forbidden ceremony involving the offering of a total of 13 people as sacrifices. Those sacrifices were to be chosen randomly, and the one who held the ceremony, Kinzo himself, was no exception. Dumbass. Are you saying that all the gruesome murders on this island were a weird ceremony? I'd had a vague idea that this might be the case, but I couldn't just hear that it was true from a witch and a demon and say, oh really, and accept it. I think the issue I'm more concerned with is that it seems like this is more so your grandfather's idea. Like, I was operating on the basis that the poem and the whole ceremony thing was devised by Beatrice. However, this would mean that Kinzo himself established this set of sacrifices of his own family for this purpose. That makes it much worse. At this point, I feel like I'd be more angry at grandfather than at, I don't know, this ball of psychopathy wrapped up in a pretty dress. There are 18 people on Rokenjima, 13 are offered as sacrifices, 5 are left alive. Then I revive, and then you tend to murder all the 5 that are left. In other words, the odds that Kinzo will be able to meet me again are probably about 1 in 3. Yes, he managed to do that last time, and then you fucking 5 nights had Freddy'd him. He bet his own life on those odds, wishing for a reunion with me for the last bit of his remaining life. You're saying he gathered our family for the sake of that joke of a ceremony? Again, I think, Beatrice, the point I'm trying to get across to you is that I am more angry with Kinzo than I am with you. Not even for all the shit that he was doing, you know, involving you and everyone else, but just this alone is enough to make me feel more angry toward him than you. Don't fuck with me. Don't say stuff like that, damn it. It was all set out in our contract from the beginning. When Kinzo's life ended, all the gold I lent him and all the assets he created would be given to me. Yes, Kinzo did stab me in the back quite brutally, but looking back now, it was rare and precious time during my 1,000 years of life. After all, boredom is my natural enemy. To Kinzo, who offered me a chance to run away from that for several decades. Yes, you could say I owe him for that. I decided to go along with Kinzo's game. So to start, Kinzo returns the Ushiromiya family's head ring to me. It was my gold that revived the family, after all. Then 13 people were chosen at random to be sacrifices. Are they random, or are you just choosing at your whims? It's not like you're rolling a fucking D20. While that happens, you all run about showing me all kinds of human interactions as you try to oppose me and entertaining me greatly. So, it's like... I feel like this is less healthy than the parasocial relationship of people, watching VTubers. And everyone's like, but you're criticizing yourself really harshly here, Lunar. So, I'm not immune to criticism. I enjoy VTubers. I do not regret this. I will continue to enjoy VTubers. I like watching VTubers. Yes, I truly have taken a liking to this game of Kinzo's. Cackle. Well, I mean, it's good to see that you didn't throw the board game out after the first game. Usually, if you have a thing like a battleship or something, you want to keep playing it. I definitely won't believe in that kind of magic story. Then who are you? You fell off a cliff and died, right? Your soul slipped out, became butterflies, and went to the forest. I have a question. Is it arguing semantics? Or if we're like, okay, Beatrice, you're not a witch, but you are a supernaturally powerful ghost that's a vengeful spirit. I mean, do I win? Is that a win? If I'm like my win condition is I deny the existence of witches and magic. Do I win by saying you're a ghost? Or that maybe, he made a homunculus, it's like a scientific abomination, like your fucking Jurassic Park. Or that aliens are involved. I mean, if I can just say aliens are involved, does that override the whole... And heck, I mean, if I can say demons are involved, I mean, technically I can say you're not a witch, you're a human, granted some amount of magical powers in a ghost form. At this point, we're arguing the difference. It's kind of like saying, it's like we're arguing, it's like, is that a lion? No. Oh God, what was that? The fucking picture moved. It's like, is that a lion? No, it's just a really big cat. It's like, is that an elephant? No, that's a giant mouse. Is that cake? No, it's chocolate cake. But it said cake. No, you implied it was plain cake. This is chocolate cake. It's like, I don't know, just... That isn't possible. But you're here. Who are you? Aren't you the 19th person? That is true, I am the 19th person. Cackle. But it's useless, right? I know it's in poor taste. But I'm imagining lewd things right now. It's all useless. There are no more than 18 humans on this rockin' Jima. What did you say? So you're saying that the X is the 18 plus X doesn't exist. Are you saying the piece I took, the X doesn't... So, there are 18 humans, but there could be any number of non-humans here. Again, could I argue that you're a ghost? Could I argue that demons or aliens are involved? What if, Elon Musk has sent anime catgirls here? I mean, are anime catgirls still human? I mean, how are we arguing this? If you revive a corpse from the dead and build them with nanomachines, but they're still the same person, but they're now built out of nanomachines that initially were you bring a corpse back to life that's been dead for years with some nanomachines, and then over the course of days it replaces all the cells in the original body with all nanomachines, and it's 100% nanomachines now. Is it still human? How are we arguing this? Poo-coo-coo-coo. That is what this means. My condolences. Still, you do move fast, my lady, and I thought you'd let him flounder about before spinning everything around at the end. Well then, Battler-sama, would some more tea be agreeable? I don't need it, damn it. I don't believe it. The culprit can't be one of the 18. Then what are you and why are you here? If the 19th person doesn't exist, then why are you saying you're one of the 18 in disguise? Cackle. Perhaps you are castling. Like I said, is it possible for Beatrice to be possessing someone? And again, at this point we're arguing semantics. Is she a witch in a disembodied form? Or is she the ghost of a human with a vengeful spirit? Though reluctantly, you are doubting one of the 18 people as your last way out. However, it will be difficult for me from here on out if you choose to stop caring about propriety. You could prepare a culprit freely from amid the 18 people. Making you reach checkmate by evading those 18 pieces will be truly difficult. Again, while I dislike, it's distasteful. It's not agreeable, but if one of the 18 gives me reason to truly think they're responsible, then so be it. But I won't just cast blame randomly without good cause. Even if there is reason to have suspicion, I will try to back it up with proof. I won't blame someone or accuse them unless there is a very strong case for it. Even then, I will allow them a chance to explain their side of things. After all, logic and rationality should be able to win out at the end, as if I do that, I won't suspect any of the 18. I don't want to suspect people. Have I really been cornered here again? Damn it, damn it, damn it. It looks like we're finally approaching the end in the third round of this game of ours. You've nowhere to run anymore, right? You don't want to suspect any of those beloved people in the 18 to you. Were you trying to hide that from me? Then why do you refuse me? Then they say you should play the opening like a book, the middle game like a magician, and the end game like a machine. Who says that? I mean, it's a neat saying. Is it a Japanese thing? I'll corner you from here on, slowly, carefully, surely. Or on the other hand, would it be better if I pressed you all at once, which might suit your style more? Yes, that should fit you well. Let's do that. I'm now fully aware of the sorts of attacks you're weakest against. Hee hee hee. Do 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 do. Okay. You know, it'd be nice if there was some sort of estimation of how long each... Like, I don't mind that each episode is long. I like that there's plenty of story. But I'd like to know, like, how long each part is in comparison to everything else. I have no idea how far... Do we have 1 hour left or 100 of this episode? We're in episode 3. What is happening? Aye, Cannon. Would you guys head pat Cannon? Hey, I think they're having sex. Good for you guys. Did Cannon just pull out a Game Boy? No, because they don't fucking exist yet. It's 1986. I wasn't even born then. I didn't get born until 1987. And then, like, the next year, they invented dirt. I'm saying I'm old. How much time is transpiring? It's gotta be close to midnight. People are probably gonna die soon. Doo-doo, conversation, boobs. Again, Kyrie, very, very attractive. She probably wouldn't agree about me, though. Then again, I'm used to that fact. I'm ugly as fuck. That's understandable. So, you gonna die this time around, Kenzo? I mean, the first time you stepped outside your place, just thinking, yeah, I'm gonna look at my door, and then you got fucking shot in the head. And the second time around, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna stay in my room the whole fucking time. And then you were eaten by fucking Fat Freddy Fazbear. And you screamed in horrible pain. How much time? I assume it's midnight now. Oh, yeah, 000. Now we can begin. Okay. Well, let's see what happens. You guys remember the song by Iron Maiden, 2 minutes till midnight? I'm going to put a link in the description to a channel that has lots of music, including all the soundtrack to this game. Jenny McLesbian. Great music. I'll have to look through the playlist. Maybe I'll have more ideas of stuff to play in the future. Is everyone looking forward to Christmas? It's December 16th at the moment. Well then, how will this game be resolved? Do you remember the previous... Kenzo, do you remember the previous games at this point? You may submit or you may resist. Either way, it will truly be an entertaining banquet, worth betting my short remaining life on. In his dimly lit study, occasionally brightened by lightning, Kenzo kept mumbling and laughing to himself. On the antique clock with the intricate design that had been sitting on his desk, the two overlapping hands tilted to the right and began to slide. The measure of time that counted up to 24 had returned to 0, and had begun to count back again. Measuring time is a brutal thing. It drags itself all the way to the 24 over the course of a day, and then returns back to 0. It certainly did count to 23:59. However, is it ever able to reach 24 o'clock? If you conclude that it returns to 0 without reaching 24, how futile it all must be. I enjoyed the use of military time in Brave Fencer Musashi. That and Mega Man Legends for great games for the PS1. But perhaps a person's life is the same. You live aiming for the perfect 24. And in the instant you reach it, you return to 0. People, isn't our system of 60, 60, 24, 365 originally developed by the Sumerians and the Phoenicians? People will probably praise the departed, saying that he did reach 24, but he most certainly did not. In the end, he's a 0. I am different. I will live and reach 24. Dude, if you're only 23 years old, you are aging poorly. Then again, I mean, I guess that makes sense. I've heard Gen Z is aging really badly. So is Kenzo just Gen Z? That itself is the Golden Land. What, being... I don't know. For that is where Beatrice dwells. Kenzo had been fumbling around with some tarot cards for some time. It looked as though he was trying to divine his own luck with a contest, doing it over every time he didn't like the that's not how that works. The result. The most forbidden action in tarot reading is trying to predict the same thing twice. I mean, honestly, yes, that would make sense. Not something I'm familiar with, but honestly, logically, that makes sense. After all, if you are divining something, to do it again, it's kind of an insult saying, oh, I don't like the answer you give me. I'm just going to ask again until you... Like, that's a very childish thing to do. To do so ridicules the results of fortune-telling, and also desecrates those beings higher than humans that give revelations through the tarot cards. However, Kenzo knew tarot cards shouldn't be used twice because, since they're nothing more than a random number generator, reading them twice will naturally cause a different result to appear. Therefore, reading them twice was only forbidden to preserve the mystique of the tarot card's results. However, that didn't mean that Kenzo didn't take tarot reading seriously. Kenzo's interpretation of tarot reading was done in a completely different way. That was to repeat the reading over and over without giving up in the slightest until he reached the result most favorable to him. The Marquis... I feel like he would be resetting in a roguelike game over and over, like, oh, I didn't get the great starting item. The mark he set for as the most favorable result would vary. But when he demanded the most favorable result in a strictly literal sense, it was the same as simply roulette of luck, where he seeked an arithmetic miracle. However, Kinzo used miracles of numbers as the basis of his magical power, so this functioned perfectly well as a magical ritual. In other words, until the result he desired appeared perfectly, he would strive to repeat the tarot readings over and over with conviction, turning the feelings of his heart into prayers, so that when they reached the heavens, they would be sublimated into results. This was Kinzo's personal magic interpretation. Therefore, even though Kinzo's tarot cards were no different from those generally used, the way in which they were used was completely different. Tonight will not go as I thought. Kinzo stopped his hands for a second. He seemed not to be getting the results he wanted. On the contrary, bad cards that shouldn't show up so often appeared repeatedly, and continued to interfere with the miracle Kinzo wished for. Humph. Is that how it is? Kinzo seemed to have received some revelation that was different from normal, but judging by the unlucky cards scattered across his desk, it was difficult to imagine that the omen had been a good one. For a while, Kinzo closed his eyes tightly, pondering something. Then, as the thunder roared, he made up his mind about something, took the telephone receiver, and dialed. "It is I. Is Genji there? An urgent matter has come up." Okay. Let's see what happens here. Ha! In front of the entrance hall, Shannon's once burning face had been cooled off by frigid air. She had thought that George's proposal would surely come sooner or later. It wasn't as though she hadn't prepared herself mentally, and she had answered by nodding. Had she been reckless because of her youth? Should she have thought about her future more seriously? I wonder if my immediate reply made him think I'm a cheap girl. If I'd at least waited until tomorrow morning, would that at least have shown him I was taking this seriously? Now that she'd already received the ring from George, Shannon kept fidgeting in embarrassment. I should have done this. I should have done that. As she did, she heard the sound of footsteps splashing through puddles. Shannon immediately chased away the emotions welling up inside her. Genji-sama? And Cannon-kun, too. I'm sorry, I have to go back soon. She grew stiff, thinking she'd surely be scolded for spending too much time in her secret lover's meeting with George. Shannon, the master told us to come to the study, saying it was urgent. Let us hurry. Huh? Yes, certainly. What in the world? He said he had a premonition of misfortune. How convenient for him, considering he's the one who started this ceremony. Everyone looks so fucking thrilled to be there. We will enter from the back so that Goda doesn't notice us. Hide your footsteps. Yes. Nason, take care. Remember your shadow clone ninja training. You're so noisy. Cannon was especially good at hiding his footsteps, just like a cat. He was able to suddenly be there, without anyone noticing, and leave in the same way. For example, even though he stepped in puddles, the sound he made was far smaller than that of the one rain hitting them. Genji also had abilities of that kind, or rather those servants called furniture were supposed to be like that. They're fucking Metal Gear Solid! Just like how desks and closets go unnoticed by members of the family. These servants also held it as a great virtue to go suddenly there whenever they were needed. Compared to that, Shannon's footsteps still strongly asserted themselves. She was also trying to hide her footsteps, but compared to Cannon and Genji, well, you could say she was a little more boisterous. Eventually they reached the back door, and the three of them entered the mansion. Immediately they thought they felt something. It was different from a sense of smell, and it seemed to hit the depths of their noses. This hard-to-describe sensation, which you might call a sixth sense, allowed them to perceive that something was different from usual. Are we going to have a situation where the 6 killed are going to be all of the main staff? Or even just all of the main people? Like, is it going to be Genji, Nanjo, Shannon, Cannon, Kinzo, but I feel like it's not going to be Goda. Natsui? Or are we talking Rosa? Maybe Rosa. So no, it's not taking bets because I'm not gambling, but like we're like trying to guess who's going to die. This isn't bad taste, trying to guess who's going to die in the murder mystery. Like we're not even trying to solve how they're dying. It's like who's it gonna be? But yeah, I think it's gonna be Kenzo, Nanjo, Genji, Kanon, Shannon, and Rosa. It seemed to hit the depths of their noses. This hard to describe sensation, which we call a sixth sense, allowed them to perceive that something was different from usual. Genji-sama? Indeed, let us hurry. That sensation made it feel as though a tense something was pressing in around them. Realizing that, the three of them dashed up the stairs, heading for Kenzo's study while still hiding their footsteps. When they dashed up the stairs, that smell of sweet poison peculiar to Kenzo's study reached their noses. What is it, Genji-sama? The barrier is dead. Huh? After hearing Kanon's words, she looked at the door to the study. A scorpion pattern was engraved on the doorknob, a powerful ward against magic, the final barrier which protected Kenzo himself. It had been broken. Of course, there was no change to the doorknob that the eye could see. However, those who could understand things people couldn't perceive were able to recognize that a dramatic change had occurred. Master! Master! It is Genji! Please open the door! Genji called in the way after knocking several times, but there was no answer to the study. Shannon, guard our backs. Kanon, search inside the room. Yes. Kanon put his ear against the door, searching for a presence inside the study. To protect the backs of the pair watching the door, Shannon faced away, the other way, ready for the unexpected. The master must be in here, but it's too quiet. Do you mean to say he's safe? No. It's too quiet. Could it possibly be? Master, excuse us about the door. Genji pulled a gold key out of his pocket. It was the only key to the study that existed other than the one Kenzo held. He stuck it in the keyhole, turned it heavily. At first glance, that seemed to prove that it was a sturdy lock. However, now that the barrier had been destroyed, this door might as well have been left open from the viewpoint of anyone with magical power. The heavy sound just now meant that the door had now been opened, even for humans. Excuse me. Why did we have to have that in bold? As Genji respectfully bowed his head, and Kanon's sense of tension grew tighter, and Shannon trembled, they entered the study. You're alive! They immediately discovered Kenzo's figure. He was sitting on the reception sofa so that his back faced them. Genji noticed that the person sitting across from him again bowed deeply. Kanon also noticed that person, but he didn't bow his head. He stood in front of Shannon and spread out his arms, blocking the way to her. So even without even seeing that person's face, Shannon had already a good idea who it was. So, you have come, Beatrice-sama. Genji, is it? You came very quickly. Yes, it is always best when furniture answers to their master's calls quickly, unlike this person. So, Renove-sama has come as well. Genji directed his greeting towards the thin darkness behind and to the right of Beatrice, where there shouldn't have been anything. Even Kanon and Shannon would never have imagined that someone was there. However, that darkness responded immediately and praised Genji's eyesight. As usual, you don't disappoint. It has been— do you have the fucking Sharingan, Genji? It has been quite some time. Still, you've grown old, haven't you? Have so many years truly passed you by? My days have been full and satisfying. It appears you have been living quite a full life yourself, Renove-sama. Yes, thank you. And Shannon, it has been a long time since I last saw you as well. You have grown quite beautiful, and it seems that you have grown quite strong. That is fortunate. Thank you very much. Nason, who in the world? This will be our first meeting, Kanon-kun. I, Renove, have been entrusted with the position of Beatrice-sama's head furniture. I am an old friend of Genji-san's, and I am also furniture just like you, although the master I serve is different. The tense color didn't disappear from Cannon's face in the slightest. Depending on the master of furniture served, they might be kind or brutal or anything else. If this person claimed to be furniture serving the hated Beatrice, then he must be despicable as well. Cackle. Cackle. It seems I'm thoroughly despised. It's as though you hate everything that has anything to do with me. Beatrice openly sneered at Cannon's hate-filled face. Then Cannon finally realized. Beatrice and Kinzo were having a chess game across the reception table, but Kinzo hadn't even quivered. He was holding his head with both hands, his eyes closed tight as he contemplated his next move, or was he in anguish? Master? I have told Kinzo 2 things. There was good news and bad news. The good news is that he'll have the good fortune of being reunited with me before the ceremony ends. I mean, in what way? Are you gonna, fuck him? The bad news is that Kinzo has been selected as the very first sacrifice in the ceremony. Cackles. There is absolutely nothing I can do. Is there? Because it truly was decided by fickle roulette. Really? Do you have a roulette machine? When was roulette invented? The liar. We know you're just a murderer who kills for fun. I mean, technically, it's both. Stop it, Cannon-kun. Are we arguing semantics again? So, Kinzo, isn't it about time you decided to accept your loss? With this, our long contest is at an end, yes? At a glance, it was hard to make out the situation on the chaotic chessboard. However, judging by Kinzo's anguish and Beatrice's malicious confidence, it seemed to be over already. It is unavoidable. Perhaps even this could be amusing. It is, to me, too. Resolving my contest with you may bring a flood of emotions, but it has already surpassed love and hate. Now it's just fun. Now it's no longer revenge. I'm just fucking getting off on this shit. It was fun. These past 2 decades certainly weren't boring. Beatrice advanced her queen and made her final move. And that decided it. Checkmate? Checkmate. This is my final tribute to you, without any reservations. Sleep. Kinzo suddenly stood up and laughed like an opera singer facing a full crowd, spreading his arms, as though he had succeeded in a century-long plan. That laugh spat crimson. Crimson flames poured out from inside him, spitting even out of his mouth, ears, and nose, and all at once his body was wrapped in hellfire. But Kinzo kept laughing. The more he laughed, the more the hellfire spewed from his entire body and began to char him. Those flames became a brilliant light, which dazzlingly shone on the various magic tools throughout the room, making their distorted shadows dance across the walls. Those shadows looked like the dead in hell, watching over Kinzo in ecstasy as he burned. And, for one who had made a contract with the witch, it was extremely fitting in accordance with those terms. After laughing and howling in the roaring flames for some time, Kinzo flopped to the ground. Everybody do the flop. Everybody do the flop. Is that in bad taste? Is it too soon? Too soon. As though he was a puppet whose strings had been cut. Those incredible blazing flames disappeared as though he had been completely burned up, and afterwards nothing remained but a festering and burnt corpse that one could hardly bear to look at. Well, okay. Well, horrible. That's not updated yet. Give it a moment. Humph, you should talk, as if you didn't think that was a fitting way for him to die. Why have you shown yourself? Do you have some business with us? Stop it, Cannon-kun. You mustn't provoke Beatrice-sama. It would seem you have them absolutely terrified. Poo-cuckoo. I mean, you're going to kill us anyway. I'm gonna fucking tell you off. And it's like, well, regardless of what I say, you're going to kill us, so I'm going to say very not savory things to you. I imagine I'll never get along with Cannon. Hey, it's not as though I dislike you particularly. Really? Are you sure? Because I feel like you dislike me particularly. I feel like you have particular spite against me. I feel like it's personal. Beatrice grinned. Cannon violently averted his gaze, obviously unhappy. His reaction was different from what he wanted to do that made the witch and her butler laugh. Cannon, you stand in the presence of Beatrice-sama. Carefully consider your manner of speech. Oh, I care not, Genji. Let him say what he pleases. I am gracious. How are you gracious? I am always gracious to those who are about to die. Cannon was taken aback by that creepy laughter. Beatrice wasn't here just to take Kinzo's life. The first twilight required 6 sacrifices. Kinzo alone wasn't nearly enough, and they'd just casually walked in here. Fear not, Cannon. It isn't as though you'll be selected as sacrifices just because you came here. After all, you were called here because you'd been selected already. Well, that's unfortunate. Can we all try a game of chess against you? Like we beat you, we don't die? What? Their instincts were good enough to spot her meaning instantly. 6 sacrifices were required for the twilight. After Kinzo, how many more would you need to add up to 6? In this mansion, the number 5 instantly made them think of the number of servants here. Is that what you desire? Indeed. Thank me, furniture. Tonight, your days of suffering will finally end. You ought to thank me for coming here to tell you this. Certainly, if that is your desire. Genji-sama. Genji had agreed to the witch's heartless announcement with his usual demeanor without raising an eyebrow. Now that the master is dead, Beatrice-sama is our master. Are you just saying this because you're old as fuck, Genji? Responding to her demand shall be our final duty. Shannon, Cannon, you have done well serving until today. That hard work is now over. As I expected of you, Genji, as your fellow furniture, I'm proud to have known you. Shannon, do you have any objections? No. I heard that George-sama gave you a ring. Do you still say that you have no regrets? Yes. That blessing was more than furniture deserves. Just receiving that the ring has already satisfied my feelings. Again, I think that's a pretty amulet thing. Shannon couldn't take quite as much of a philosophical view as Genji. There probably were regrets left in her heart. She probably wanted to spend a little more warm time with the person she cared for, George. But she released herself from that. She took a single deep breath and ate, and a blank expression rose to her face. Very well. It does surprise me a tad to find that you've gained such composure, Shannon. It seems you two have taken a philosophical view as furniture. Won't you at least shed some bitter tears for not being able to spend a night with the man you love? What a boring woman. This feeling cannot be understood by the likes of you, Beatrice-sama. If you desire our lives, please accept them. We will solemnly carry out that duty. Very well. Excellently put. Hukuku, just the type of person Beatrice-sama can handle. She's been taking such a far-sighted view of things lately. I must have tormented her too much last time. Speaking of which, didn't I do the same to Battler? Am I still soft? I feel like we're having a misunderstanding here. I must have tormented her too much last time. So the point is, like, you were being too harsh on the person, so that's the opposite of being too soft. That's like the reason why these people are reacting this way is because, you know, you were too harsh. Or is it the way I cornered them lacking? In any case, she's just no fun. However, it seems you will still entertain me, right? Cannon-kun. Compared to the two who had taken a far-sighted approach, there was a painful anguish on Cannon's face. He's like, I have a hentai game I still want to play. It's like Cannon was still far too young to accept his demise after being told of it by suddenly appearing the witch. Cannon, I hate boredom more than anything. and the fact that the other two have obediently accepted their deaths isn't amusing at all, so I hope you don't betray my expectations. Are you trying to make me your plaything? Cannon realized that he was being provoked. However, no matter how furiously anger spurred him on, his opponent was a witch. He was furniture. He hadn't had a chance at victory from the beginning, but the witch was expecting that he'd struggle in vain and writhe around and was even looking forward to it. Just thinking about that was frustrating enough to get his blood boiling. Was disappointing the witches by refusing to resist like the other two, the only way he could strike back at her. I mean, we could challenge her to a game of chess, or Jenga, or Twister, or Halo. The eldest of the seven sisters of Purgatory, Lucifer, arise. Lucifer of Pride right here. Cannon? It would be far too cruel to force furniture to fight a witch. No matter how much anger spurs you on, you have no hope in battle without a chance of success. Of course, such a battle would be boring for me as well. So, let it be furniture against furniture. Why not resolve it with a battle between you two? That should be enough to allow you some hope for victory, right? Forgive me, Beatrice-sama. Do you feel insulted? Miss... I'm staring at her vagina. Why am I imagining her as Futa now? But how could I be inferior to this good-for-nothing furniture? As if this cutie would have any chance against me. Prove that you can defeat my furniture, the 7 stakes of Purgatory. If you manage to win, though, let us see. I will let you select the 5 who will escape, becoming one of the 13 sacrifices. I will welcome the 5 you recommend into the Golden Land without any conditions. How about that? That actually is a good incentive, Beatrice. That actually is a good reward. Fitting for this. That is actually a good reward. A better one would be you don't kill anyone else on the island at all. But, you know, that's not a bad offer. That actually is an enticing incentive. Cannon understood that he was being provoked. However, the witch's offer was very tempting. By this point, Cannon couldn't care less about the evil ceremony the witch and the rest were trying to carry out. On the contrary, it was much more important that he remain alive so that he could be invited to the Golden Land and have his wish granted by Beatrice there. You cried, saying you'd had enough of being furniture, right? I shall grant your desire. I shall give you that human body you wanted so much. You cried yourself to sleep. What do you say? That way you and Jessica could be together, yes? Oh, just perfect. You may recommend that Jessica and yourself be invited to the Golden Land. If you alone finding happiness isn't a satisfying solution for you, then you can add Shannon and George, the one she loves. If you're worried about duty, then you can also add Genji. Oh, that's 5 people. Isn't that enough, Cannon? With this much of a reward? You won't let me get bored, will you? She's just playing with you. There is no need to listen to her. I don't like it. Are you okay with this, Nason? Beatrice couldn't hide her evil smile at those words. I don't like it. I want to be happy. I've had enough of being furniture. I want to become human and have normal love. I want to know that the ocean is blue, like you. How young. I'm jealous. That's why I like the young ones. Genji, Shannon, stay back. Cannon, Lucifer, forward. As you command. I don't like it. The way you look down on me. As if Beatrice-sama would be impossible, but with at least me, you'd have a chance. I really don't like it. That was probably humiliating for Lucifer. But at the same time, she was also happy that she was lucky enough to have this adorable prey all to herself. Come, furniture of the witch. Don't think that you can look down on me forever. Did we lose that quickly? Jedi fights. Do, do, choo, 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 choo. Choo, 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 choo. It was at that moment Cannon pulled out a gun. Ow. Angry yelling. So, Battler, isn't this a fun show? Damn it. Another weird thing's happening. Like I'd ever believe in a magic battle. I mean, we may not believe it, but I believe in Cannon. Do it, Cannon, win. Look, look. Don't turn your eyes away. Look at it. Look, look, look. How are you having conversations in multiple places? Fucking shadow clone jutsu person. Why am I imagining her using the shadow clones to fuck herself? It's magic. It's furniture. It's magic furniture. Now it's hentai. No matter how much you try to deny me and my magic, look, 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 look. If you got all this happening right in front of you, it'd be a waste to miss it, don't you think? Look, look, look. Just stop thinking. Magic exists. This is fantasy. Don't close your eyes. Look closely. Look, 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 look. Damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. I won't accept witches, I won't accept magic. But if it's being done right in the open like that, what am I supposed to say? Damn it, damn it. Come now, don't turn away, look closely, okay? Magic exists, this is fantasy, so stop playing detective. I know your secret, you actually don't really like to think things through, right? Then just stop, stop. Look, look, it's gotta be fantasy, gotta be fantasy. Hee. Shut up, shut up, shut up. Don't talk to me. This guy's getting stubborn. Won't you apologize and crawl on the ground right now for being so conceited that you thought you could beat me? If you did, I wouldn't mind forgiving you, okay? Then you wouldn't have to have your skin ripped off while you're still alive, or get lashed all over your body as you squirm until you die. You're a cutie, so apologize. If you do, I'll finish you off so gently while it still feels great. Be silent, Furniture of the Witch. I have no intention of speaking with you. So you're saying you think nothing of me? That disrespectful gaze of yours is really ticking me off. Cannon-kun. Isn't he stronger than he was against Satan? This is why humans are so frightening. In fact, sometimes they even become witches and treat demons as butlers. Poo-coo-coo-coo, so which should I cheer on? Are you saying this guy's on par with me? Don't look down on me. As long as you have that pride, you'll never defeat me. You speak of Lucifer, the eldest son of the Sisters of Purgatory, and say that I cannot win. How conceited. What? Cannon was desperately trying to stay alive, and he had a strong desire to become human, but Lucifer didn't feel anything stronger than a slight desire to play, so that led to an inevitable result. It was a result that could be reached by the power of humans, the power of the heart. That's as far as you go. You cannot win against me. The glowing red curve extended straight out from Cannon's arm, pointing at Lucifer's throat, just beneath the tip of her chin. What is this? How could I... There must be some mistake. As she ground her teeth in irritation, she tried to deny the truth right before her eyes, but no matter how much she believed in her own superiority, it didn't change the facts right in front of her. Oh, well done, Cannon. Wonderful, you haven't bored me. How pitiful my furniture is compared to that. Cackle. Lucifer, you are boring, my lady. Was this opponent really too much for you to handle? I'm disappointed, eldest of the seven stakes. It would have seemed like mere rebuke to an outsider. However, Furniture, serving the witch, knew what kind of severe treatment was promised by that rebuke, and understood what had been left unsaid. What? You good-for-nothing Furniture? She howled. Abandoning her last bit of pride, she made her body explode, exposing her true form. The form was of a demon snake which bounced off the walls surrounding the room. How could you shame me so much? Kill, 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 you blockhead. Even though you can't even follow my movements anymore, I won't play around anymore. I'm seriously mad. I'll pierce your heart in one blow. I'll plow right through you, make a fountain of bright red blood reach the ceiling. Die. Cannon-kun. I mean, technically we already won. So what do you mean that wasn't her final form? So now she's a flying dick. After flying about wildly for some time, and with a speed approaching the limits of what a human eye could follow, Lucifer flew at Cannon's heart. She could tell that it was Cannon's blood by the sweet taste of it, but she quickly noticed one thing. She hadn't pierced his heart. Ho? Cackle. This is why humans are frightening. Did he, like, fucking sacrifice his arm just to basically catch her? That's like fucking Baki the Grappler shit. That's like Byakuya versus Uzumari in the Arrancar arc. Would you like some black tea? I am fine for now. This is so amusing I don't even need any. Again, I feel like a lot of this could have been fixed if we just gave Beatrice a Super Nintendo. You know, she's like, are you gonna kill people, Beatrice? No, I'm playing Super Mario World. Cool. Cannon-kun. You were arrogant again. I told you that you wouldn't be able to defeat me. The floor was stained with dripping blood. It really was Cannon's blood, but it wasn't flowing out of his chest. Cannon had sacrificed his own left hand to protect his heart. Lucifer was arrogant, even though she'd been given enough time to realize that this was an opponent capable of cornering her. In her pride, she had believed him to be worthless. She had gotten careless, so just as she had announced, she had aimed for his chest, trying to pierce his heart. Because she was arrogant, she hadn't even thought of aiming for somewhere other than the place she had announced. No, maybe she had thought about it a little, however her pride would not allow her to aim for a different spot. After all, she was Lucifer of pride. Cannon, withstanding the pain, grasped the demon stake, sticking deep into his left hand strongly with his right hand, and pulled it out. When she heard the sound of breaking bones and even more blood dripping down, Shannon looked away reflexively. There was an air hole in the back of the pierced hand so big you could clearly see through to the other side. Cannon's face was filled with pain, but right now he had won without a doubt. The demon stake he was gripping with his right hand turned back into Lucifer again, so that Cannon was now gripping exactly where her neck was. I thought it was going to be her vagina. Gah! We are choking people out with after like a stigmata. It's a crucifixion reference. It's my victory, Beatrice. Cannon didn't hold back at all with the hand gripping Lucifer's throat. She had challenged him again after their fight had already been decided. Cannon had no obligation to be considerate. But even so, Cannon released the witch's furniture. Was it his naive humanism, his pity for another furniture, or a final bit of respect to the witch? In any case, when she was released, Lucifer fell down on the ground, retching and moaning over the pain in her throat. Spectacular, Cannon! Your great efforts have proven the correctness of some of Kinzo's research. Renove was clapping his hands to Cannon, who had won at a great cost, and had a wound on his left hand that wouldn't close. Renove's applause only felt like mockery. All possibilities dwell within the human heart, was it? My, this is why humans are frightening. Well done, Cannon. You were victorious. Spectacular. Ha ha ha. Are you okay, Cannon-kun? Shannon ran up to him and wrapped a handkerchief around his left hand, which was still spraying blood. That was incredible, Cannon. Truly incredible. Why do I feel like you're like watching Roman gladiator games? Even though she's 1,000 years old, it would still be too late for her to see the Roman gladiator games. It's like, born too late for Roman gladiator games. Born too soon for Super Nintendo. That was incredible, Canon. Truly incredible. Even I was hoping, at least a little, for an upset. That you didn't let me down makes you truly splendid furniture. I think better of you now. I honestly think better of you. You haven't forgotten our promise, right, Beatrice? Indeed. Of course I haven't forgotten. Witches and demons may be inhumane. However, we are much more noble than humans when it comes to keeping promises. I will not go back on my word. I guaranteed that if you won, I would give you the right to decide the 5 people who will escape becoming the 13 sacrifices. But Beatrice-sama, it's not like I've... When Beatrice waved her pipe, heaven and earth turned over just for Lucifer, so as a horribly natural result, she fell onto the ceiling. Oh, okay. The ceiling doesn't seem that high to people standing on the floor. However, people who fall on it upside down and head first usually don't agree. Milady, isn't that a little much? Cackle. Perhaps you are right. I suppose I'll forgive her. Beatrice waved her pipe again. When she did, the magic that had been affecting Lucifer was released. So as the horrible natural result, this time she fell properly back on the floor. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, right. Beatrice, please forgive me. What are you so afraid of? I have already forgiven you, haven't I? So, Canon, shall we continue? Continue what? You aren't saying you want me to finish her, are you? No, it isn't over yet, right? What isn't? Stop dodging the question. I did promise you your reward, didn't I? If you could defeat my furniture. The 7 stakes of purgatory, right? You are a asshole, Beatrice. Come, arise, the 7 stakes of purgatory. The 6 younger sisters of the worthless elder sister. Kya ha 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 ha. Well, this ain't gonna go well. You know, there's some joke to be made about the fact that they're all actually stakes. So, like, they all have just, like, raging boners. Like, they just, like, have erections. But, yeah. This is... I don't think we can win this. It makes me think of, like, Vegeta and Goku versus Metal Cooler. Like, we won! Now there's 1,000 more. Like, god damn it! I mean, Battler's been fighting them 7v1. I mean, maybe he could give some tips. We're at the... So... This harem anime is not really... working out the best at the moment, and as a golden splash scattered about, the remaining 6 sisters of Purgatory showed themselves. All the 7 sisters of Purgatory were here after Canon was able to defeat one only by sacrificing his left arm. By now, Canon regretted his thoughtlessness in accepting the witch's challenge. He had been foolish to assume that a game against a witch would be on even footing. Lame. One-sama, why are you crawling on the floor? You people. I told you One-sama's useless. Even though she acts like she's so great just because she's the oldest. That's only on the outside. Yeah, seriously. Lucifer, One-sama, you disgraceful behavior will damage the reputation of us all. Know your shame, you novice. Canon-kun, that was totally awesome. But don't get cocky, okay? Lucifer One-sama brags all the time, but she's no big deal compared to the rest of us sisters. That's why I'm always saying Lucifer Nason shouldn't do anything. Just let her keep bragging all the time. After all, those of us with talent can handle all the tough jobs. What are you gonna do, One-sama? Out of respect for your pride, we were planning to stay out of your way in the hopes that you'd challenge him again in the beat-up body of yours. But Canon-kun sure is strong, right? Right, no matter how much you struggle, there's no way you could win, right? You people. Cackle. My, you sisters are always so lively. Is this any time to fight amongst yourselves? Beatrice, the endless witch who has lived for 1,000 years. She is known for being exceptionally cruel, even among witches. She loves bullying the weak and capable of using trial and error endlessly to find the cruelest fate they can possibly be given. And she toys with her victims even further by piling one after another. This witch is extremely powerful, but word has it that she sometimes becomes obsessed with creating certain patterns, so that her means end up becoming her goals. Renove, one of the 72 great demons, works for a master in exchange for various forms of compensation. He currently has a contract with Beatrice as her butler, head furniture. He's become proficient at housekeeping after serving in many households, so his ability as a butler is very high. Is Genji also a demon? In the high society of witches, employing him has become a kind of status symbol. Furthermore, the cookies he bakes are superb. The witches will often form a line demanding them. He must possess tremendous magical power, but since he always stays out of the spotlight to further boost his master's reputation, his combat capabilities are unknown. All of the God damn it! Ow. Ow. All of the goats. Low-level furniture in service to Beatrice. They are a great number, but silent and lacking personality. They obediently follow their master's orders. Their senses are closer to those of animals than humans, and they're surprisingly dull-witted, which sometimes leads them to misunderstand their orders. They have, by nature, a massive build like a minotaur's and fearsome superhuman strength. They may be low-level furniture, but the ability to summon an inexhaustible supply of them makes them extremely convenient. The Seven Sisters of Purgatory, high-quality furniture created by Beatrice. Satan takes on the role of the constantly angry class president among the sisters. She's always quick to scold people, which is why the other sisters are so scared of her. For that reason, no one's ever willing to talk back to her, and she's actually quite lonely all the time. She'll sometimes intentionally do things that ought to get her in trouble, but none of the sisters ever scold this lonely furniture back. As the youngest of the sisters, Asmodeus is always doted upon. This might be why she alone is kept out of the way whenever an even slightly lewd topic comes up. She's always looking for a boyfriend in the hopes that her sisters will finally accept her as an adult. However, she keeps aiming too high and whiles away each day, dreaming of the prince who will never come. Satan. Did I already... Leviathan. Okay. Leviathan often represents the other younger sisters when speaking to Lucifer. Deep down, she has a brutal, deeply envious nature and is adept at spotting people's weaknesses. However, she's more of a selfish crybaby than a person burning with envy. For some reason, she's not very good at handling tough situations, and she often ends up coming in the last among the sisters, which getting the short end of the stick and crying. Beelzebub is the gourmet. Or do you guys say gourmet? Usually the T is silent. Gourmet. And the E is like an extended AY sound. So instead of gourmet, it's gourmet of the sisters, and is known for being a big and picky eater. Staring right at her thighs. Her personality is similar to Mammon's, and the two sisters often fight over the same thing. She's always talking about food, which makes her a calming influence among the sisters. However, she also has a disturbing desire to kidnap pretty boys and store them in the food cellar. Lucifer is the oldest of the sisters, and therefore their leader. Because of this, she claims to be the strongest of them all, but she's secretly aware that she's actually the least talented. However, she has always acted with arrogance in an attempt to hide this fact from the others. Her greatest fear is that her sisters will scorn her if they ever find out. Mammon is quick to grab whatever she wants, without any concern for her sisters. Her motto is, monopolize through greed, which means she's usually the main cause of arguments between the sisters. However, she is also the most honest about her own feelings, and the one most likely to try and please the opposite sex. She may be greedy, but she's a hard worker who will stop at nothing to capture her target's affections for eternity. For all eternity. Not just one eternity, but all of the eternities. You know, I thought it was mattering like where I clicked. It's just random. Oh, there we go. Belphegor is well trusted and known for being a reticent, serious, and responsible piece of furniture. However, this is partly due to her demonic desire to turn her masters into useless, lazy pigs. In that sense, she might be the most demonic of all the sisters. She's serious to a fault, and not at all used to being treated kindly, instead of the other way around. My, you sisters are always so lively. Is this any time to fight amongst yourselves? It's only together that you're the 7 stakes of purgatory, correct? Now play nice and execute the tasks I give you, and swiftly, okay? Hey, Lucifer One-sama, if you want to borrow the power of your little sisters, then say it, okay? We want to hear you ask for help with your own mouth. Do you plan to mock me even more? I, the foolish, weak, ugly, and shameful Lucifer, the eldest sister, beg my younger sisters to save me. Come on, let's hear it. If you let us hear that, we'll save you. Okay? Everyone? You bitch. The 7 sisters of Purgatory unanimously closed in on their worthless... Why am I imagining her as Yamcha? Sister. Abusing her. Even Cannon, who had been fighting for his life until a second ago, couldn't bear to look at it. As if I could say something like that. Quickly now. Clearly we won't make any progress. Here with you alone. Hurry up. Let the 7 sisters strike Cannon. Pookukuhu. My, what is the matter, Lucifer? This is an order for my milady, is it not? How cruel. After grinding her teeth over and over after hearing her sister's curses, Lucifer trembled all over and answered her sister's request. I the foolish, weak, ugly, and shameful, Lucifer, the eldest sister, beg. Crying noises. Angry crying noises. The girl known as Pride was finally able to endure the words she was saying and broke down. Was finally unable to endure the words she was saying and broke down crying. However, the 6 younger sisters kept giggling cold-heartedly. Why does this feel like a Call of Duty lobby? Wait a sec. Don't try to trick us by crying. You haven't finished saying it. That should be enough. Come, sisters, let us display our power. I won't be satisfied till I hear the whole thing, okay? Come on, One-sama, keep going. That's enough. Come on, the shame affects us all. We won't let them leave here alive. Okay, how should we play with this pitiful furniture? Any wonderful plans? Yes. Bells thinks the 7 of us should get along and split Cannon up between us. Good idea. That way all of the sisters can get along. Then I'll take the head. I'll leave the limbs and guts to you all. No, 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 no. I get the head. Hey, Cannon, you're going to get some head. It's not the way you want it, I guess. There's no way that'll promise me anything, right? First one there wins. Hee 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 hee. Cannon-kun, if you got any ideas for how we should kill you, just tell us, okay? By old age and lots of sex? The Seven Sisters will kill you. Death by snoo-snoo. Does anyone get the reference? Sisters kill you in an awesome way. Damn. Arg. You've shamed me so deeply. Slicing you in 8 pieces won't be enough. I'll slice you into 100 pieces. Here we go, everyone. Well, that's not gonna go well. Yes, One-sama. Hey, Cannon, look at all our vaginas. 14 titties. Kia. The 7 of them burst at once. They had no intention of playing or boasting. This time they would generally follow their master's order. Take Cannon down swiftly. The 7 sisters jumped around the room faster than the eye could see, examining how they could best kill Cannon. They tortured Cannon with their cruel giggles, sometimes making a close pass at him. Why does this remind me of Vegeta inside Super Buu? After the whole Vegito thing. They kept scraping his arms, shoulders, and cheeks, gradually carving red letters into his body. At that moment, Shannon dashed up behind him, holding on to him so that she blocked the way to his body at least a little. At the same time, a red cylinder wrapped around the 2 of them like a beam of light sent from heaven. That cylinder repelled the evil ones who tormented Cannon. What? You're mean. This has nothing to do with you. I see. You must want to play with us. Kya. Then I'll take it. All mine. Beatrice-sama, can we take Shannon as our prey? I don't mind. Do as you like. It seems Cannon alone won't be enough to satisfy your gluttony. You have our deepest gratitude. Come on, I'll make you regret coming out uninvited. I mean, you're going to kill everyone anyway. I'll turn you into scraps of meat so unrecognizable you won't be able to tell which is which. I'm hoping Genji jumps in and helps. Because even though he serves Beatrice, I would like to think that he cares about... I'll turn you into scraps of meat so unrecognized you won't be able to tell which is which. Mix you and mince you into hamburgers. Idiot, breaking that barrier should come first, right? Don't let your gluttony get in the way of your job. Yes, One-sama. Yes, big sister. As a horribly natural first action. The 7 sisters began to destroy the barrier Shannon had created. Shannon's barrier certainly was strong. It was powerful enough to impress even Beatrice. With its strength, frail furniture would turn to dust just by touching it, and it was firm like a tree with deep roots. But no matter how big a tree gets, it will eventually surrender to a saw or an axe. For the 7 sisters, chopping down Shannon's barrier would be annoying but not impossible. Are Shannon and Cannon Saiyans? Do they get stronger after every loss? A sound like beetles jumping around grew even fiercer and filled the room. The red barrier began to be cut up and eroded away as though with an axe, a saw, no, a chainsaw. But now, how is no one in this building hearing this? It's like, what's that upstairs? It sounds like someone's having a lightsaber fight, and now there's machine gun fire. Why are you here, Renove? What are you doing? How foolish, even though you must know that your barrier can't fully protect you from these squirrels. Why? Because I couldn't overlook it. As Shannon covered Cannon, who was already at his limits, sprawled on the floor, she spoke back resolutely. If you hadn't barged in uninvited, I would have given you a death like sleep. Why have you gone to all the trouble of exposing yourself before the 7 sisters? Not all deaths are the same. A cruel death will cause you far more anguish than merely dying. But then she won't get her Zenkai boost in the next game. We're eventually going to go from Yamcha to Vegeta. I remember in the original Dragon Ball Z Budokai, there was a side story where you had Yamcha post-Buu beating Super Saiyan Vegeta. It was a PS2. Heck, you even saw Golden Frieza back in the PS2 game. But it was like an off-joke thing. It was never supposed to be real. But then it eventually did become real. Go ahead, do as you like. Just as you always do what you want. I did what I wanted. Just as you do always what you wanted. I did what I wanted. At any rate, you're not quite amusing at the present moment. Romance is most interesting when you're wondering whether it will succeed or not. Once it does succeed, a woman is like salmon who has finished laying its eggs. I have already tired of you. Well, thank you. No words from a witch would make me happier. Then at least in the end, let me see you die a truly entertaining manner. Seven Sisters, can you hear me? Kill Shannon in a way that shows me the limits of brutality. Shannon? My apologies. In the end, I wasn't able to reach your level, Genji-sama. You're an idiot, Nason. If you just let me be, then you might not have had to meet a horrible end. No, it's fine. I received a ring from George-sama and lived as a woman. I have protected you and lived as a sister. With this, my life is complete with no regrets. You're pissing me off. Hey, it makes you look bad, Beatrice. That philosophical take really is irritating. Like I said, you're furniture. You don't even smell like a human. Look at me. I am a human. Don't spout off philosophical crap like you're more complete than I am, you furniture. Why is the I particularly bold here? Is Battler going to call you out on that? How ugly. Are those regrets what you truly are? They aren't regrets. This is called living. What's this about not minding if you die just because you were given a ring? I can't understand. It's incomprehensible, disappointing, outrageous, stunning, and it's all useless. Hey, you sound like... Milady, perhaps you're acting a tad undignified. Huh. Beatrice, you sound a lot like Battler. Are you starting to become more like Battler? Is Battler rubbing off on you? Shut up, furniture. It sounds like you're just a really insecure person and only way you can feel better about yourself is by being mean to other people. Shut up, furniture. Shannon, do you think I'll let you die so easily? Now is the time to bite your tongue. How pitiful. If you can see yourself reflected in my eyes, then shudder at your own ugliness. Fear not. Once I've crushed you up, you'll be much more ugly while you still live. At that time, Genji softly entered the red barrier. Perhaps that barrier didn't block those without ill intent. Then Genji gently held her from behind and covered her eyes with his right hand. Genji-sama, you've already done enough. Go to sleep before me. Are you gonna like break her neck to give her an easy death? Yes. Thank you very much, Genji-sama. Indeed. After that, Genji softly pressed his left hand near her collarbone. As he did, emanating from that area, a crimson stain gently spread out. Genji, were you playing Hitman and Assassin's Creed your whole life? When Genji removed his hand, bright red, fresh blood oozed out of there. If only happened for the first instant, and it was shaped like a crimson rose. And when he removed his right hand covering her face, there was a peaceful expression there as though she was sleeping. Then she fell softly, silently, and slept. Her soul had already been sent to a world where the malicious witch and her furniture could not reach her, no matter how evilly they tortured her. This scene left Beatrice and the Seven Sisters stunned. Only Renove wore a mysterious smile. Then Genji leaned over Cannon, who was crouching on the floor. You did well. You should sleep now, too. I can't talk. My tongue is broken. Yes. Thank you very much, Genji-sama. Just as he had done with Shannon, he softly covered Cannon's eyes with his hand, then gently pressed the area around Cannon's collarbone with his other hand. And when his hand was removed with the lightness of a feather, there was a crimson rose there. But that rose shape quickly turned into the stain of bright red blood pouring out. So you basically euthanized them to give them a more merciful death. What is that? What a boring person. Even though it's so fun to poke the balloon of life with a needle so that it forcefully explodes. Spectacular, Genji. You truly are furniture. Thank you very much. Well then, Beatrice-sama, Renove-sama, with this as my final task, allow me to rest. Tish, damn you, snatching away my fun. Why don't I take all the thrashing and mashing I want to do to them and give it to you instead? Beatrice faced him with an unsatisfied expression, but Renove spoke quietly to Genji with a soothing smile. You have worked hard. You are my greatest servant. As a final gift, I shall bestow upon you a peaceful sleep, fitting for all the labors you have performed. What? Wait, it's not your place to. Just because he's your butler doesn't mean he's your slave. When Renove snapped his fingers, Genji slumped to the floor like a puppet with its string cut. Suddenly and yet gently, he crumpled, falling into a sleep that no witch could call him back from. It was as filled with kindness as the sleep he had given Shannon and Cannon. What was that, Renove? What a boring anticlimax. Are you not a mighty great witch, my lady? What happened here is hardly worthy of your concern. It isn't like you to let provocation of someone like Shannon get to you. What was it that had Beatrice so irritated? Was she still unable to remove the thorn of Shannon's words? Renove laughed lightly as though lamenting the complexity of humanity and a woman's heart, and ordered the seven sisters to go. After all, there were still 2 sacrifices left for the first twilight. The 7 sisters disappeared in ecstasy. I say Rosa and Nanjo. Goda was doing the nighttime rounds. Rokkenjima had always been empty except for the Ushiromiya family household. So checking the doors and windows were all closed had no real purpose. However, ever since the time Natsui had condemned such an attitude as being careless, the nighttime rounds had become part of the servants' daily routine. In the first place, Natsui had ordered this because of the occasional witch disturbances. Everyone who came and left this island knew about the legend of Beatrice, the Witch of the Forest. It had become established as this island's characteristic ghost story. Because of that, it was only natural that some people would claim that, when they thought they were alone in the mansion, they would hear a strange sound or see the shadow of a person. However, when that created a little too much of a disturbance and reached Natsui's ears, she made a fuss, thinking that some suspicious person might have been entering and leaving. Apparently, she had roused all the servants and had checked them throughout the mansion. Because all of that panic over the witch had happened before Goda's arrival, he had only heard about it from the more senior servants. Ghost stories like that could be found in any workplace, even at the hotels and restaurants that Goda had worked at. There had been plenty of them. So when he had heard that the story on this island, he had given a forced smile, thinking, so they have that kind of thing here after all. That forced smile aside, he had figured that when in Rome, do as the Romans do, and had taken it seriously. Goda went along with it on the outside. But in his heart, he assumed it to be a childish trick. At first, that is. This certainly is eerie. Yes, I can see why it was so easy for past servants to get into a panic. He could understand how someone doing the rounds on an eerie night like this might believe they'd seen a ghost if they saw a lace curtain waving in the breeze from a window that hadn't been closed. So if you make fun of the witch of the portrait, there is a curse. It seems there was even a servant who received a serious injury and quit. Well, I wouldn't want that. Think of my age. I probably wouldn't be granted a workplace this hospitable again. Witch of the Portrait, I'm working sincerely, so please give me some peace. Goda prayed to the portrait, his hands together, as though he was at a Shinto shrine. At that time, he thought he heard a sound. The kitchen? Was that the sound of something metal falling on the floor? Maybe a mouse or a cockroach had come out and knocked over some of the... How would it cut? How big is... Heck, a mouse shouldn't even be able to do that. What is this, fucking Fallout New Vegas? No, how could that be? It was usually cleaned thoroughly. Thinking he'd check out what that noise he had really been, Goda entered the kitchen. He turned on the kitchen light. When he did, he heard a strange sound. Clank, 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 clank. Okay. To a cook like Goda, the sound felt like the lid on a pressure cooker, or something shaking. Surely there wouldn't be a pot on the burner when no one was in the kitchen. Even if someone was using the gas, walking away from it would be quite dangerous. Just in case, Goda decided to inspect the area around the gas range. What is this? When he did, in the corner of the gas range, the pressure cooker really had been set out just as he thought, but the flame wasn't on, and yet the lid was clanking. Was something fermenting and leaking gas? How could that be? I've been burping a lot. Then, was there a mouse or something inside? How could there be? Ridiculous. When people were watching, Goda acted as though he was a bold personality fitting for his build, but he actually had an unexpectedly timid side to him. He was frightened that there might actually be something inside, and he couldn't bring himself to check it carelessly. In his cowardice, he grabbed a nearby wooden pestle, and with a clunk, he tapped it a little forcefully against the side of the pressure cooker. When he did, the clanking sound suddenly stopped. He should have been relieved that it had stopped. But the fact that it had stopped when he hit it was even more eerie and made him even more suspicious about what was inside. Gulp. Mysterious phenomena do not exist in this world. Yes, witches and magic like that couldn't possibly exist. All phenomena can be explained with science. As if monsters and witches could exist. He repeated that many times, trying to build up his own confidence. The gap between what he was saying and what he was doing was quite comical. Who would believe in a witch? Who would believe in magic or curses? Come on. Show me what you really are. Take that. He removed the lid of the pressure cooker, and lying exposed there was a sparkling clean silver bottom of the pot. There was absolutely nothing frightening like he had imagined. It's Beatrice inside the pot, the size of Tinkerbell. Phew. It's only natural. There's no way there could have been anything inside. By now, Goda realized that he had been a coward. So, while he still had some doubts as to what had caused the lid to make that sound, he figured it wasn't a big problem and decided not to worry about it too much. Then he took the lid, he'd grabbed it, and softly set it back down where it had been. It's fine, it won't make a sound. Of course it won't. As if witches or magic could exist. Clank. Clank, 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 clank. Huh? Clank, 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 clank. Clank, 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 clank. Eep. All of the pots and dishes in the kitchen started clanking at once. I mean, I'd also be scared, buddy. I'm not blaming you. I do not look down on you for this. It grew even stronger, so that finally the lid to one of the pots fell off, and from inside the pot a slender white arm reached out. The lids fell off the other pots one after another, and another, and another. Eep. As if witches could exist. As if I'd believe it. When the number of arms grew to a 7, a loud, shrill laughter split the air. What a letdown. Too bad that someone who can make such delicious food is such a lightweight. If you don't want him, I'll take him. He's all mine. Wait, I said no. I'll take him. What? Hiya. Kia. Huh, I would have thought Beatrice would have saved his life because she prayed to her like a Shinto priest. But no, he's dead. Come on, let's search. There's only one more. That old hag. Where is she? Which one's the old... Natsui? Are we talking Natsui? She isn't in the mansion. What about the guest house? First one wins, right? Come on, search. Find her. Don't be noticed by the relatives in the dining hall, right? And don't get noticed by the kids in the guest house, right? Search in silence, kill in silence. After all, it's still just the first twilight. She isn't in the guest house, but she wasn't in the mansion either, right? Oh, we're Kumasawa. Right, we're killing all the... I forgot you... I am so sorry, Kumasawa. I forgot you existed. Hey, I found her. She's in the rose garden. Why is she standing around there without an umbrella? She's already given up. All mine, all mine, all mine. You blockheads can just sit there and watch. I told you, no, this one's mine. Come on, if we take any longer, we'll be scolded by Beatrice-sama. Let's take care of it all at once. There, found her, surrounded her. Come on, let's get along and do it all at once, okay? Die. Oh, you also have magic. Huh? What? I guess that explains why she doesn't need an umbrella. Well, what is this? Ho 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 ho, what naughty girls. You wouldn't happen to be friends of that child, would you? Just what is this? This old hag. There's got to be some mistake. You know, this is making me think of Doburo Orochi when he fought Yujiro. You know, the first time. The thing where he's like blocking the attacks pretty well. Similar to Odin when he fought Keiichi. And Keiichi's mightiest disciple. Keiichi's mightiest disciple. The mightiest disciple. One more time. Well, good for you. Why can she defend against us? Move aside. One more time. No matter how often you try, it won't work. This person is good. I am waiting for that child. Would you mind calling for her? Do you really expect us to run errands for you like that? There's no need. Beatrice-sama. After all, even I have manifested by now. By child, do you mean Beatrice, or are we waiting for someone else to spawn into this world? I was certain that you had awakened. Renove? It's been a long time. Yes, truly a long time. This person's talking to Renove-sama without using Sama? And? It's been a long time since I've seen you too, Beatrice. She's not even using Sama for Beatrice-sama. Enough. Don't you know who this is? The name Beatrice itself is hers. I only inherited it from her. This is my teacher. Oh, neat. So this is the original Endless Witch. The one that had blue hair. And so how much older than 1,000 years is Kumasawa? The previous Lady Beatrice. The previous Lady Beatrice? Okay, but there's been versions of this story where she dies. Like, multiple. Gold butterflies appeared in ones and twos from the garden of roses and began to gather around Kumasawa. Then after she was wrapped in golden sparkle, she burst and disappeared, and Kumasawa's form was no longer there. Are we going to see the blue-haired Botan from Yu Yu Hakusho? Yay! I'm staring at her boobs. Instead, there was another golden witch, the one who once taught the path of the Endless Witch to Beatrice, and the only person Beatrice ever called teacher. Her hair was long, beautiful, and vividly youthful, and her figure in that elegant dress couldn't possibly have been mistaken for an old lady. No, this looked like a completely different person from Kumasawa. Well, well, teacher, I never even dreamed that we would meet each other again. Yes, neither did I. I certainly never dreamed that my sleep would be disturbed. Such a troublesome time for you to awaken. If you'd remained asleep as usual, the first twilight could have ended without much trouble. Or perhaps I should be glad you're here. I was just getting a tad bored. As usual, it seems you're toying with sinless people in a vulgar game. I believe I taught you several times that the power of the Endless Witch mustn't be used to cause people trouble. Don't say that, teacher. It's like you were not meant to become fucking Hellraiser. It's like you were meant to use this power to help people. What have you become, Anakin? I am imagining. Though, in this question, is Kumasawa Obi-Wan Kenobi or Qui-Gon Jinn? But now, yeah, I'm imagining Beatrice as Anakin Skywalker. Isn't boredom our natural enemy? This is just a little spice to escape from that. Tish, the more the corrosion advances, the stronger my power becomes, and the easier it becomes to summon my minions. But who would have thought it would release the seal on you, teacher, at the same time? Did you seal her? What sealed her? Did she seal herself because she was sleepy? It's precisely because I predicted such a thing would happen that I slept so very close to where you were, though I prayed in my sleep that I would not be woken again. Being reunited with you like this is a very sad thing for me. You're as cunning as always, teacher. You are the chosen one, Beatrice. You are supposed to destroy the Sith, not become them. Renove, have that young furniture step back. Furniture only serves its master. The master is responsible for all of her crimes. Certainly, Madam Beatrice. I have already passed that name on to this child. Come now, step back, furniture girls. I may give warnings a second time, if you did not listen the first. However, do not expect to receive a third. Step back, Seven Sisters of Purgatory. If you get dragged into this, only dust will remain. But back, everyone. I would like to see the looks of fear on their faces. Renove and the Seven Sisters of Purgatory retreated. After that, what remained was the Beatrice whose daring expression didn't falter, and the teacher Beatrice who had given up that name and wore a composed smile. Well then, teacher, what tea shall I prepare for our long-awaited reunion? Let's see, this reunion was longer in coming than the visit of a comet. Is that fucking Three-Eye Atlas in the fucking sky? Perhaps I will accept your hospitality, and if it seems a mistake has been made, I'll have you return my name and the title of Endless Witch. Cackle. So even the title of Endless Witch has a license renewal policy? As you wish, teacher. See how splendid your disciple has become, and see how far she surpassed you so long ago. The air between the two Beatrices seemed to explode with sparks. Just by glaring at each other, they purged all spirits from that space. As they watched, the Seven Sisters shivered. After all, if they had retreated just 3 steps less than they had, they would have already been turned to dust by now. So come, Beatrice. Surrendering my name to you is the only regret I have in life. I will now correct that error by my own hands. Cackle. Tisk. You've got it wrong, teacher. My only error was becoming your disciple in hopes of gaining such a puny level of power. Get it? What are you calling magic? You don't look very friendly right now. What are you calling the Endless Witch? All you've got is a power that can be gained just by noticing, right? And you act as though that's so great and impressive. Your turn's long over, teacher. She's gonna reveal that she's been, like, holding back like fucking Kenpachi. Shadow clone jutsus. It's like, why do you have a fucking Rasengan? I don't have a clue what's going on anymore. What in the world is happening right in front of my eyes? You poor thing. It seems my disciple is causing you trouble. Well, I appreciate your words of kindness. Thank you. I don't know what to call you, though. I'm gonna go with Kumasawa. But, either way, thank you. I apologize. Well, who the heck are you? Why did old Kumasawa turn into a Nei-chan like this? I mean, seriously, who are you? I don't get it. What kind of special effects are these? What kind of drugs am I on? My head feels like it's going to explode. I am the witch, teacher of that child. My old name was Beatrice. When that child succeeded me, I gave up that name, so I have no name of my own. I mean, didn't you have a name before that? Like you've already said, your disciple's been a real pain to me. Please take responsibility and do something. No, wait. I don't believe in stuff like this. As if witches and magic could exist. I won't accept this messed up battle. Damn it, what should I believe? I feel like it's King Kai. Goku's like fighting Frieza and he's talking, and King Kai's like, how are you talking to me and fighting Frieza at the same time? Oh, that's just like you. Hospitality with a very quick temper. Cackle. I'd expect nothing less from you, teacher. It seems this is so trivial to you, you don't even feel like opening your eyes. But I doubt you'll be able to win unless you're prepared to wreck this whole island, see? Come, arise. Shoulder War Towers? What, did you summon a fucking Gundam? In response to Beatrice summons, a terrific earth tremor split the room. How is everyone sleeping through this? Earlier, we're like, oh, Seven Sisters Purgatory, we need to be quiet and sneak around. We don't want to be noticed. And then we fucking summon a kaiju! The fuck? A terrific earth tremor split the rose garden. And on either side of the shoulders, two massive war towers sprouted and stabbed in the heavens. This makes me think of the guardian summon Alexander from Final Fantasy IX. They stretched up 100. Is it supposed to be meters? But like, I've never seen. And each had over 360 ports. And they were war towers of the gods' army corps, which had prevented even groups of ancient heroes from invading their sacred grounds, as Beatrice elegantly floated in the gap between the massive two-headed towers. She looked down. Why is Gandalf there? She looked down at her teacher, sneering with a sense of absolute superiority. With the two massive towers lined up behind her shoulders, the witch looked very small, like a butterfly dancing between two huge trees. Hi. Don't think you can dodge by turning into butterflies, okay? The density of the Twin Towers barrage wouldn't just make you a pinned bug sample, it'd make you a madly stabbed pincushion, right? Over 720 ports opened on the towers, and godly soldiers readied their multi-shot ballistas. Okay, how is anyone sleeping through this? Is that the end of your turn? Ha. Famous last words. Blast away. Why do I feel like they're playing like Warhammer or some shit? Ow, that hurts my eyes. The ballista shots that numbered over 1,000 were all fired at once, drawing a beautiful geometric curtain of death. The boorish sound as the bowstrings were played was probably even deeper than that of a reaper swinging its sickle. Come, arise, fallen tower. Split the single language and let the sin be known. Did you just fucking use the black materia to summon fucking meteor? Okay, we're watching Kuja versus Sephiroth here. And we're just like, squall here in the background. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm caught in between Final Fantasy 7 and 9. Yes, I'm making a reference to the squalls from Final Fantasy 8. The sky was stained an incandescent red. From between the clouds, a blazing massive tower fell upside down. The massive falling tower and its rubble sucked in the thousands of ballista shots, so that not one of them approached the body of the witch who had summoned it. That's right, no group of people, no matter how large, could approach the mysteries of heaven. That was the reality of the fallen tower. As I'd expect from you, teacher, if you do something, you always do it big. Now I'm imagining her as Futa, with a foot-long cock. Everyone's like, you didn't have to tell us that, Lunar. Yes, I know that. Also, look, moon. There's a moon behind her. Moon. Everyone watching this video is probably filled with deep regret that they have ever come across my channel. They're like, what the fuck are we listening to? And I'm like, I haven't figured that part out. I'm just some crazy guy on the internet who just... My turn isn't over. Come, arise, sons of Ivaldi. Bestow upon me a worthy spear. As the massive crimson tower that had fallen made a terrible gold-colored explosion, a massive spear appeared from inside those flames, so tall like a tower that you had to look up to see it all. It was too large even for a giant's hand. That divinely beautiful spear of the gods was so massive it gave the illusion that the fallen tower had turned into a spear of the same size. It was a spear of certain victory that none could escape. Looks like your twin towers won't help you now. Oh no, a giant flaming spear is about to hit the twin towers, guys. I feel like this is a reference to something. No idea what, though. How foolish to block off your means of escape on both sides. You can't defend against even a single spear. When she snapped her fingers in command, the massive tower-sized spear shot at Beatrice like a lightning bolt. It aimed right for the middle of the center of the Golden Witch's heart with extreme precision, as she danced in the gap between the towers like a butterfly, slicing straight through the air like a flash of lightning. Ha! So you use Gungnir at a moment like this? You really are incredible, teacher. Burst, useless towers. Arise, giant soldier battle line. Why does this make me think of fucking Card Wars from fucking Adventure Time? Fully block the divine spear with your shields and chestnuts. I mean chests. Boobs. The shoulder war towers exploded in gold. They became several billion gold butterflies. Those butterflies took the shape of 7 massive armored soldiers, each stretched a full 50 meters into the sky. And they lined up in front of Beatrice, protecting their master and holding massive shields that towered like windmills. Okay. They were as massive as a mountain range. The witch behind them was like a small moon hiding behind the curtains. Once in the past, when the massive shields these giants held had been readied by the whole regiment, they had protected King Wilhelm's castle not only from arrows, but from the wind and the rain. For when they had faced upwards and held their shields to the heavens, not a single raindrop had gotten through. Foolish, the shame of a witch who has forgotten to respect things sacred. Did you think mere giants could defend against the spear of the gods? Indeed. No matter how much a human metal you are armed, you cannot block a spear of the gods. A wonderful... I don't know how to pronounce that. Apollet? Mate? By Madame? No way. Beatrice-sama? Of course I haven't forgotten, teacher. Come, arise, disciples of Hephaestus. Bestow upon me a worthy shield. A golden whirlwind arose at the feet of the giant soldiers. It was a cloud of countless butterflies. They attached themselves to the massive shields like gold leaf, sparkling like they were a gold mirror. It was the absolute defensive wall given to a goddess by the chief of the gods, the Aegis shield. When the holy spear, which left the dignified tail behind it like a comet, crashed in the mountain range. Did she just use the power of shield hero? Range of the gold shield. There was a terrible thunderous roar. It was the creaking of the pillars that held up the heavens. The divine spear spun around and around and was sent flying in the direction of the setting sun. Impossible. She defended against the divine spear? No, that is not correct. The divine spear avoided her. It is the law of the gods that an absolute spear and an absolute shield must never fight one another, although in the end it means the same thing as defending against it. Your skills have improved from engaging in these fights so often. Or rather, it seems you're still as bad as ever as this kind of game, teacher. It's my turn to strike back. I shall follow the code and counter a spear with a spear. What code is that? The giant soldier battle line, which had fully blocked the divine spear, released its holy gold shields. The shields fell to the earth, making the ground shake. How is everyone sleeping through this? Ow, my eyes. When they did, another gold whirlwind uprose, and the 7 gold shields changed their form to 7 massive spears of lightning, lying on the ground. At once, each of the giants lifted one of their legs high and firmly stomped on the tips of the handles. As the earth shook with a thunderous sound, the 7 lightning spears spun beautifully and flew up above the giant shoulders' heads. They scattered in a golden splash and began to fall before the giants. Each of the giants squared off, and with the force of their whole body, they kicked and smashed them. The broken pieces numbered exactly 30 and became lightning spears, of exactly the same size as the originals, which made 210 for the 7 giants, and all those bursts at once, each was split in 30 horns, for a total of 6,300. They became a barrage of thunderclouds, drawing a beautiful geometric pattern. And then each changed into 3 bolts of lightning, so that 18,900 thunderbolts shot at the predecessor Beatrice. Why does this feel like Dragon Ball Z now? It's over, Beatrice-sama. Beatrice, and then the Kumasawa used the Kaioken. And Beatrice is like, Kaio what? Ah, fuck Kaio, fuck. I would expect nothing less from Madame. The bundle of almost 20,000 thunderbolts must have reduced the teacher's body to dust, but there had been no resistance. Beatrice knew immediately that she had been fooled. At that time, from the direction of the sun had supposedly set, she felt the impossible rays of sunlight. A brilliant ray of light shone on her profile. It was the figure of her teacher holding aloft the spear of the gods that had supposedly been repelled a short while ago. She bore a sparkle like the sun of her back, and made it shine like the incarnation of darkness. As Beatrice watched, she was trapped like a mouse in a cage, cornered in a dead-end form of the giant soldier battle line. By now, predecessor Beatrice had seized a position directly alongside that line. Playtime is over, Beatrice. Have I exposed my flank? Why am I imagining her exposing her ass and having like a cutie mark like it's fucking My Little Pony? It turned out Beatrice was the real Rainbow Dash all along. I don't fucking know anymore, man. Her bold expression hadn't faltered even once, but now it twisted for the first time. And faster than Beatrice could click her tongue, the predecessor Beatrice released the holy spear. As it leapt through the air, it changed its form once more. Come, arise. I have no idea how to pronounce that. How do you... I don't know how to pronounce that, brothers. Bestow upon me the giant smashing iron hammer of heaven. Giant soldiers, protect me. What you doing, you blockheads? By now, it was no longer a spear, but but the whirlwind of a massive hammer that raised a sound like a windstorm as it flew through the air. It was the legendary hammer that had shaken even the king of the frost giants, so the giant soldiers couldn't escape from that fear. So regardless of how strong their master ordered them, they couldn't get in the path of that hammer. Back rank Matt. Rest in peace. Damn it. Before the whirlwind of that massive chunk of metal, Beatrice is nothing more than a mere speck. The instant the whirlwind started to suck Beatrice in, she started to change to a massive war tower. The iron hammer smashed through the war tower, scattering tremendous amounts of rubble, but it did not reach she who had escaped behind it. Furthermore, when the smoke started to settle, the war tower had sucked in the massive iron hammer without crumbling and blocked the way. Even the giant smashing iron hammer couldn't break through the final tower protecting the witch. However, the war tower was actually the witch's last trump card. It was a war tower for dodging that could only save her from danger once. But this tower was impregnable. No weapon could break through it. At that time, the moon disappeared. As Beatrice hid in the shadows of the giant soldier battle line of the war tower, she looked up at the sky. When she did, inside the moon was the figure of a massive horse, ridden by the god of war and death. The predecessor Beatrice rode the horse with him. His cloak had blocked the moon and swallowed it in eerie shadow. The spear of the gods was in his hand once more. In other words, it was a godly knight who had jumped over the ramparts formed by the giant soldiers in the war tower attacking from the heavens. Cackle. You got me. Smothered Matt. Mate. It was fun, Beatrice. Ooh. The struggle to the death between the two witches, which with the same name, was over. I feel like Beatrice was like falsely pretending, and then all of a sudden it's going to like the spear that had been launched from the heavens pierced the ground. The giant soldier battle line and the war tower split up into countless gold butterflies, wrapping the earth in gold-colored storm. Then came the sound of thunder, and the sound of the falling rain and the wind. If you looked around, the rose garden was empty. The butler and the rest were watching the two witches confronting each other. But Beatrice alone had changed. She had been pierced straight through by the spear, from the base of her neck and her right shoulder to her left buttocks, unable to even reach the ground with her feet, horribly exposed like a pitiful pinned butterfly, tormented by the wind and the rain. But Beatrice-sama, as expected, a truly fearsome person. This settles it, Beatrice. Ouch. Beatrice wore a bitter smile of false courage, but a strand of blood dangled from her mouth, making her look even more pitiful. The title and power of the Endless Witch, you will return them to me now, along with the name Beatrice. You are too immature to call yourself an Endless Witch. Stop. Forgive me, teacher. I was just fooling around, okay? I will take my name back from you. I shall return you to your original form. Perhaps you should relinquish this power which is beyond you, and live a life suitable for yourself. Come, try to remember. What form did you have? The predecessor, Beatrice, began to recite the words of power. When she did, small gold butterflies gathered near the skewered Beatrice and began to swarm about her. Like butterflies sucking the nectar out of flowers, they began to suck the magic power out of Beatrice, and it seemed to cause her intense pain. A cry of anguish issued from Beatrice's mouth. She no longer had any power to resist it. Come, try closing your eyes. Try to remember. What form did you have? Come, Beatrice, repeat it with me. Let us sing a song together. Then it will be over soon. Let us end your pain as fast as possible. You're right. How long has it been since I've sung with you, teacher? Are you doing this as a pretense to make her drop her guard, and then you, or even maybe you're being sincere, and either way, then you see an opening and you take it? Come together now. Come, try to remember. What form did you have? Come, try to remember. What form did you have? When the two of them began to recite the same song, more and more gold butterflies danced around, swarming around Beatrice. "It will be all right, milady. You will lose your place as my disciple, but that will not change the fact that you are the lady I serve. After that, I shall read a book for you again. I shall bake you apple pies once more, just like it was long ago. Come, try to remember." Ha ha ha. Yes, try to remember. Are you finally starting to remember? Hey, teacher? Did you remember the thing behind you? What is this? When the predecessor Beatrice looked behind her, there was an eerie hedgehog curled up there. Sonic! No! Not Sonic the Hedgehog. No, it was herself. There was another predecessor Beatrice, whose whole body had been packed with ballista shots, lying there like a pincushion doll. Come, try to remember. What form did you have? Or maybe that's not right. Come, try to remember. How were you killed? Did you use, like, fucking Itachi Genjutsu? Why is Naruto pregnant now? The predecessor Beatrice was stunned. Her form gradually began to fade away. This reminds me of Kenpachi versus the Brain Dude. This is when did you... At the beginning, I did not summon a pair of shoulder towers. There were 4 towers. Teacher, you carelessly stepped across the 7th-rank rook boundary of death created by the 2 hidden towers, which were lurking in the distance on either side of you. It was bad manners of me to say check this late. I simply must apologize. The battle had been decided at the very beginning. It had been over since the time the predecessor had leaned forward, readying her holy spear to attack Beatrice, who had been wedged between her shoulder towers. The hidden towers, lurking on either side, had bathed her in a windstorm ballista of shots from 720 ports on both sides, pinning and killing her. However, Beatrice hadn't wanted it to be resolved like that. She had wanted to let her teacher take her next move, and had continued acting as though the game was still on. She had immediately revived her with the endless power, and had made her continue the game as though nothing had happened. Then the predecessor slowly remembered that she had already been killed, and began to vanish completely. When she did, the spear that had pierced Beatrice also vanished. And then Kumasawa's corpse appears. Beatrice finally landed on the ground. There wasn't even a trace of a scar. It was fun, teacher. If you want to play again, I'll revive you any time. And once we've had some fun, I'll make you remember that you're a corpse again. See? I did everything you told me to, right? Didn't you tell me to always put my toys back in their boxes when I'm done playing with them? Cackle. Ha-ha. Was it an easy victory? You fool, it was a tough one. If I hadn't tricked her with the 4 towers, I would have been the one dead, as I'd expected from teacher. But now I can stand proud. Now I have completely surpassed teacher. Renove, clean up teacher's remains a bit. I haven't lost my respect for her that much. Certainly. Tonight's first twilight became a little too riotous. A little cleanup will be necessary. I shall see to it immediately. Goats, it is time to clean up. When Renove snapped his fingers, blazing, sparkling eyes began to blink open in the shadows and darkness, becoming goat-headed attendants that appeared one after another. One by one, they wordlessly stood at attention in the line behind Renove's back. This time, what shall be done about 6 corpses? Another closed room pattern? I'm in no mood to think now. I will leave it to you, Renove. An extraordinary closed room to torment Battler, if you would. Certainly. Then it shall be extraordinary. Cackle. Ha ha. Okay, where's Battler? Battler, did you see my big moment? Damn it. After being shown that screwed up magical storm, what can I deny? Forget just witches existing. After being shown that tremendous flashing fantasy, what can I deny now? I don't get it anymore. It was like the last time too, but how can I deny these awesome, wonderful, magical battles? Isn't that right? Okay, so it turns out, Beatrice, the only way to... what you needed to do in order to press Battler was to have, like, massive Dragon Ball Z battles.
You got to know your audience. It's like, ooh, look. It's like, and it's like, oh no. It's like, we were like approaching the wrong genre of anime here. You know, you were trying to treat this like, it's like, oh look, here's Berserk. And here's Sailor Moon. But it's like, no, here's fucking Gundam Wing. And Baki the Grappler. After watching this, you can't talk your way out of it, right? Okay, Battler, let me hear some ridiculous reasoning. Milady, your laugh is becoming undignified. Oh, my apologies, but that isn't my fault. After all, if Battler tightly closes his eyes, grinds his teeth, and shows me ever so bitter expression, it just automatically slips out of my mouth, you see. So, Battler-sama, why don't you return to the table without losing heart? Milady is expecting your counterattack, you see. Quit messing with me. How the hell can I make a counter-argument? In the first place, everything was already screwed up when the towers sprouted out of the earth. Should I say that under the ground in Rakajima there's a secret laboratory for building super alloy combining robots or something? And that pushing a button can make these strange towers sprout up? Right, and then those huge giants must be the robots? Or maybe an evil secret association mecha monsters? I don't get it. Don't talk to me, Gua. Look, don't cry, okay? Bang, bang, it's magic. If you want, I'll crush the moon and make comets fall like rain. But I like the moon. I can even bury the whole island of those massive-breasted Nei-chans like you like so much, see? I mean, I know I shouldn't be intrigued by that, but did you just offer to make them fucking kaijus and topless? What kind of fucking hentai am I in now? Only thing left is tentacle hentai. I'm sure we'll get to that. Come on, look, my turn's over, see? Show me your response, launch your counterattack. You can't, can you? Except that there's a quadrillion things you can't do. You're useless against this, right? You actually like this kind of fantasy, don't you? I get it, that's been going around in the streets lately, hasn't it? In manga and light novels and anime and movies. Some teenage rats get a whole bunch of strange abilities and they blow up all sorts of stuff with the fate of the world on the line. You love that too, don't you? So you're saying you're actually a fan of DBZ. I know, don't hide it, you love it, right? Hasn't that thing you love been displayed just before your own eyes? I mean, honestly, it would probably be really fucking awesome to watch that. Why don't you believe in manga? Why do you believe it in manga and anime, but you won't believe in me? Believe it! Is that a fucking Naruto reference? Again, I am not opposed to the idea of believing witches and magic. The thing is that you're a fucking bitch about it. The moment I agree to believe in it, you become very mean. And I don't like, you being mean. Can't argue back, not after you've been shown something like this, right? Look, answer. You don't need to think, you just can obediently say, I'm sorry, Beatrice-sama. Look, try saying, I'm sorry, Beatrice-sama. Try saying it. Say it. Don't be embarrassed. Kukiya.
Well, guys, last time on Dragon Ball Z, Chi-Chi pulled out her cock. There would have been no way to tell that morning had come without opening a curtain and looking up at the cloudy sky, which had become a tiny bit lighter. Guess we don't get to see this stuff until... Okay. Till next time, guys. Bye.